what encourages and discourages you the most, both at home in the space when you do ministry and also when you're on the mission field?
It's always the same thing. It's my own sin. My selfishness, self-centeredness, my whining, murmuring against God. It's just a whole list of as black as night is what discourages me. Dead men don't get discouraged. So if I've been discouraged, I'm obviously not dead. Read Thomas Watson, A Body of Divinity. Read that book. He's got one section in there. If you want to be introduced to a Puritan writer who writes brief for a Puritan and writes beautifully, Thomas Watson, Body of Divinity. In there, he's got a section on how do we glorify God. And one of the ways in which we glorify God is being content with His providence. And possibly that is the greatest way in which we glorify God. That I am content with His providence in my life. Now, how is that? Well, I could whine about the fact that I went to a Southern Baptist seminary that lied to me. God in His power could have sent me to a seminary or put me under a man who would have taught me right things. But I got sent to a seminary who pretended to be conservative, and the fact is they were neo-orthodox. I wasted 3 years of my life. See, they're wasted. Well, if God put me there, it wasn't a waste. There was a reason for it. I can look back over my life and not be content with the hand of providence. God, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you? Some of you, maybe were called in the ministry after you studied 3 years of accounting, and you're sitting there going, man, what a waste. Well, there's no waste in God's economy. God knew you before the foundation of the world. Also, the idea of God's place for me. God didn't give me the mind of Charles Spurgeon. He didn't give me the heart of David Brainerd. He gave me what I am. I'm to even be content with that. Now, I'm to strive to be like Jesus, but I'm not to compare myself with other men. And I'm not to rank myself. Because if I say there are other men higher than me, you know what I'm actually saying? There are also other men lower than me. To be very careful, because pride jumps up everywhere. But my own sin and the fact that I have to learn lessons over and over and over again, the very same lesson, it's pathetic. Also, one of the most discouraging things for me is my inability to truly love my wife as I should. Now, don't get me wrong. We have a wonderful marriage, and we're content. We hardly ever argue or fight or anything, but that's not the point. You're going to find something. Pulpits are easy. Loving people from China is easy. The closer they get to you, the harder they are to love. And if you want to be a Christ-like man, you love your wife with all your heart. You love your husband with all your heart. If you can master this one thing, you'll master all of it. If you can love that woman or love that man as Jesus Christ loved the church, or as the church ought to love Jesus Christ, then all the other things will fall into place. All the other things. The greatest discouragement to me is my lack of love. My lack of love. A question. The greatest encouragement? The grace of God.
This audio recording is taken from a question and answer session that was held in Hannibal, Missouri in 2002.